Hello, my friends. 3KO Games here, and welcome to the June 2024 Soul Exchange. It's here. I waited until it was officially here just to see if any heroes changed from what they leaked early, or previewed early, I guess I should say. And nope, the list has been correct. They tweaked just a little bit what tier everybody's at. It's not a bad Soul Exchange. I think the previous one was stronger, all in all, but I think no matter what tier you're at, unless you're at the very, very top here and you have most of these heroes and you're really only warring with the latest meta heroes, you'll find somebody you don't have here and a hole in your roster, some kind of feature that they have that will help complement your heroes. Yeah. So let's go through them row by row. Let's talk about the 10 hero exchange row. If you've got 10 5-stars that you're not using, that you could do without, you can consider these heroes. Shakaz Rot. I just wouldn't consider Shakaz Rot. I don't think he's strong enough. I think even if you are early in the game and you don't have a 5-star purple hero, I would sink your resources into one of your 4-star purple heroes. Double limit break to Bertus or something. Slow speed, so that damage to all, which is nice. It's not a high enough number to justify the slow speed. The mana generation ailment is great, but only for enemies with a dispellable mana generation buff. You can't count on that. So that's not going to happen a lot of the time. The immunity to new buffs is nice, but at slow speed, a dispel might be more important because at slow speed, those buffs on your enemy's team are probably already going to be going off. Will have gone off, and so now we're talking about the second round. So unless you already have a dispeller, and then you pair that dispeller with this hero, again, can't recommend. Matilda from the Halloween Morlovia family a couple years ago. This is one for 10 heroes that I think is really worthwhile. One of the drawbacks, of course, on all these heroes is that when you turn max power preview on and we're at 1144 team power, the latest heroes without emblems and limit breaks are approaching 1100 team power. So take that as a caveat with all of these heroes. Stats are going to be noticeably lower. So you're not going to find somebody in here that's going to just take over the game for you, if you're at the mid-level and beyond. But you will find people to complement your existing heroes, and that's what Matilda does, right? So there's poison damage first, then it summons a Muffin Fiend. That Fiend, importantly, makes the target more susceptible to status ailments. 50% increased damage from status ailments for 3 turns. That's pretty great. Of course, there are anti-fiend heroes. There are good healers that are able to heal past those fiends. This is only a 35% health absorbing fiend. And then there are heroes with second limit break status things that resist fiends. So there are ways around this. But if you have a hero on your team that does damage over time, the classic one people talk about is Costume Rock, who's also yellow. It will be even stronger when Matilda fires her special as well. A burn damage hero, a sand damage hero, a water damage hero, but not a poison damage hero. That's important. I have Shazy Jing, like to use her a lot, but these two poison damages will just overwrite each other. So if I try to make... Well, I'm not sure now. If you do her poison damage first, and then you do Xie Zijing, will Xie Zijing's poison overwrite hers? Possibly. Matilda may be worth it at 10 souls, but you have to be thoughtful. She won't work by herself. You have to synergize her with somebody else on your team. Erebus is an anti-minion hero from the Styx family. So it destroys all minions from the target. Even on second and third mana charge, it still destroys all minions from the target. I don't think that's strong enough anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even if they don't have minions, at third mana charge, you're going to be doing a 675% shot to 1, which is not bad. And then you punish them by every time they try to get a new minion, they actually get damage instead. So that's interesting, but like, if you're trying to remove a minion from 1, that is probably like a mega minion, and that doesn't work. Mega minions can't be removed by 1 minion removing shot. You'd have to do 2 shots, or like 2 heroes each, or just blast through. So the fundamental part about Erebus's special, I just don't think is that effective anymore. Because if the rest of the team still has minions, you haven't done much. So there's that. Not bad as just a sniper, but the minion mechanic here I don't think is that well suited for current play. Himos, 10 souls, blue from the Season of Love Cupid family. Having a priority dispeller, buff dispeller, is always good. Himos is fast speed, so they're only dispelling from 1 and hitting 1, but sometimes that's all you need. Actually pulled Himos last time that seasonal event came around. Still haven't leveled them up yet, but it's a pretty strong choice for 10 souls to have a priority dispel of 1, pretty good size damage, and then caster and nearby allies get additional special skill damage. All right. Finally, we have Sylvania. Some things about Sylvania work well. The defense down first and then hit is pretty good. What doesn't work? She has a innate resistance to minion removal. That's interesting. But the minion that she summons as part of her special skill is weak. You don't need to remove that with a special minion remover. You can just blast right through that Forest Familiar minion. The minion you want is this Forest Guardian minion that only comes when you're facing an enemy that has burn and it has given you burn damage, which is unfortunate. I don't recommend Sylvania. So again, if you've got 10 souls, but not 15, and you're looking for a good option, I think the 2 best options are Matilda and Himos. Let's keep going. 15 heroes. Nyx, another Styx hero. I wish they were still updating the Styx heroes. I thought it was a fun event. It was a fun group of heroes. I never really landed many Styx heroes way back in the day, but they just never really updated it. These 2 or 3 times mana charges are great. So this is a hit all, which is important. Even at 1 mana charge, 2 quick matches, hits all. Not for a huge amount, 220% damage. You're not really using Nyx for her huge hit. You are using her for all allies get plus 30% attack. At the 2nd mana charge, all enemies get negative 34% defense, or third charge, you get plus attack, and they get negative defense. Now, that third mana charge almost never happens. But the plus attack or the negative defense can come in handy. Obviously, that happens after she's already hit, so you have to have another purple hitter or another hitter in general in your team to really synergize with this well. Not a horrible pick. Obviously, all of the stats, again, are a couple years old. But if you're willing to sink all your resources in, get all the emblems, all the limit breaks, she could still hold her own. That's Nyx. Xiaoou from the Lunar New Year family. I have Xiaoou, and I love playing with Xiaoou, especially because of this passive. All minions owned by the enemies are disabled with their attacks and their abilities. That comes in really handy against some of the really trickiest minions, but they are now making heroes that resist, or they're making heroes with mega minions, and this doesn't do anything. Xiaoou is a strong sniper, 605% damage, and then heals himself for some of that damage dealt, which is nice. Between the two of this year and this family, I definitely prefer Xiaoou. A sneaky thing about Xiaoou is that healing resist that he gives the other team. I have killed a lot of enemies who have then, because they've tried to heal, but they were hit by Xiaoou and they were pretty low on health anyway. So that comes in really handy. I wish Xiaoou had something a little stronger besides just healing himself. Not a bad hero, though. Good, strong sniper. And if you're still playing in the level where there are still a lot of sticky minions that aren't mega minions, or like Diao-chan costume minions, Xiaoou could come in handy for you. Not a bad choice. Barkley from the pet family is going to hit 300% damage to the target, so you do get to aim at somebody, and then 2 other random enemies. Could be the same target. Missile Fiend to all the hit enemies, absorbing with 55% attack each turn. It's a pretty weak minion. It only absorbs 28% health, so it's going to go away. But when it's defeated or removed, nearby enemies receive... Oh, no. If an enemy is defeated while it has a Missile Fiend, nearby enemies receive 500 damage. So that's pretty good. Those minions are not the hardest to get rid of. I remember when he first came out, though, he was just wrecking defenses. Just wrecking teams all over the place. Still not a bad choice. Hit 3 and playing that Fiend game. I think the weakest choice in the 15 row is Miriam and Midnight, who was totally broken when she first came out. The heal and all the other stuff was just too strong. Then they nerfed her and she's okay. So you're going to get a minion for caster and nearby allies. Oh, was it originally everybody? That might have been what it was. And that minion for caster and nearby helps them heal at the end of each turn. It also lifts the newest cleansable status ailment from the owner and adds it to the hit target. That might have been what it was originally. It was everybody got a minion. So everybody was healing, and you couldn't get past, you couldn't kill these minions, so any status ailments were just thrown right back to you. And they were getting plus attack. Now it's just for 3. I just don't think she's worth it for 3 anymore. Finally, Queen Anne. Queen Anne is the first one that I'm strongly considering here. My taunt game is not that good. And she is from the Three Musketeers family, slow speed taunt hero. 6 turns, so like Ludwig, forever, and regenerates a whole bunch. over 6 turns. Then the rest of the allies get big defense increase and big mana generation increase. It's not quite the same effect that like Ludwig has, where suddenly it keeps increasing and everybody just suddenly charges 3 turns in a row. But 44% mana generation increase is pretty strong. And I believe her special that she gets with second limit break is starting with auto taunt. So that's pretty strong. All right. Second row, really almost any of these heroes, depending upon what you need, could work. The one I would least recommend is Miriam and Midnight. Finally, last row, everybody's talking about costume Guardian Panther. And yes, Guardian Panther, the original, was featured in Fated Summons. I know some people who are trying to get to 20 and are getting rid of the first Guardian Panther they took in Fated Summons to get the costume one here in the Soul Exchange. Maybe the strongest, if people are looking for like, what's the best hero? And that is a loaded question. That's a hard question to get through because it really is roster dependent and your style of play and all that stuff. But if you're looking for just objectively, it might be Guardian Panther, especially she just got a buff with a costume bonus. Look at that costume bonus. It's crazy. So that her stats are not quite as dated as everybody else. And with this immunity to new status effect buffs at fast speed, that's great. And then defense against dark. Elemental defense is really, really strong for your wars, for your raids, for your titans. She's just a great, great hero. You could not go wrong, even if you have one, to grab 2. Jakun is maybe my least favorite of this 20 hero row. You're not choosing him for damage. 200% damage to all is not bad for very fast speed, but that's not really going to wreck everybody. You have to synergize that well with the fact that each color gets a different ailment for the next 3 turns. So, if you really need a yellow 5-star hero and you can be thoughtful about mana generation down and attack down and defense down and accuracy down, all that stuff, Jakun might be okay for you. I am the least excited about Jakun in this bottom row. Fexa is a fantastic healer and much more than a healer. 42% health for all allies is a great number. It's not going to heal away some of the hardest minions, but it heals away most and fiends, excuse me. But it heals away most of them, and it's a pretty good solid number. Duration of buffs is reset, so if you synergize that well, fantastic. Plus, all allies get plus 30% critical chance and plus 50% attack for 4 turns. And she's a bard, so she gets that family bonus of plus 5% mana generation to every hero on your team that is the only part of their family that's on your team. Solo heroes. Very strong hero, very strong healer. Would definitely recommend. Not a whole lot of great red healers. Hathor, obviously. Fexa. Those are the top 2, I think. So you couldn't go wrong choosing Fexa. I, unfortunately, or fortunately, have a boatload of red heroes that I'm still trying to level up, including Cupido from the last Soul Exchange that I just never got to. And I got lucky with Rocket from the Goblins and Scoria, and I'm still waiting on all those. So as strong as Fexa is, I think for my roster and current situation right now, I don't think she's the right choice. Tinsel from the Santa event. Fast speed, hit 3. 340% damage to the target and nearby is not bad. The elf minion is neither here nor there, but target nearby enemies are going to get negative defense, starting with 14%, and then increasing for all the ice shields on the board. Same with accuracy down, starting with 10% and increasing for all the ice shields on the board. She's a strong hero. People were explaining that this defense down, for some reason, is not disqualified from activating Star Walker or Poppet if you play them in succession. This defense down will still trigger Poppet or Star Walker's damage, extra damage by rewriting their defense down. I have not seen this in action. This is just something that I've read before. So if you've seen this in action and it doesn't work or it does, feel free to comment down below. All right, last one. Green Knight. Green Knight was so intimidating when he first came out. He does a couple things in the right order. First, all enemies get negative defense. Then he hits. So that's great. Negative 265 damage to all enemies. But the biggest part was, if the caster is defeated during the next 5 turns, they are resurrected at the beginning of their next turn with 45% health and dealing 765 damage to all. That's huge. I have lost many battles that way. Personally, for my taste though, I don't want to play with a hero that I'm hoping will die and that I am able to time their resurrection just right. Because if you don't time it just right, I guess it's 5 turns. It's a long time. But if you don't time it just right, yay, he's dead. Oh, but now he's just dead. So I'm lowest on green heroes, but this is not the hero that I'm excited to add to my roster. I'm still choosing. My favorites among all of these are Queen Anne, Guardian Panther, although I'm still sitting on several purple heroes right now, Fexa, although I'm still sitting on several red heroes right now, maybe Tinsel. Take your time with this. It only comes around once in a while. So you've got a couple days. Ask the questions. Talk to your alliance mates. Ask me questions. Just don't ask me who's the best, because that question's not helpful. You have to contextualize what your situation is, what heroes you have, how many heroes you can afford, and what your play style is. But if you have specific questions, feel free to ask them below. I'd love to talk about what you think about any of these heroes, what your plans are. And thank you for watching the video, everybody. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Good luck with your choice, and we'll see you next time.